Hey guys, Leah, owner of Dreamcatcher Artistry here. We're getting a lot of interest in some tutorials, so we decided why not? Let's go ahead and make one. I am going to be doing a bridal look today. It doesn't have to just be bridal, it can be special occasion, night out. You can even adapt it for a day-to-day look. But I'm finding we're getting a lot of brides having to postpone into 2021. Some of them are still trying to do something small and intimate within the next couple months. However, we're not entirely sure if things will open up enough for them to be able to bring in additional vendors like hair and makeup. So I wanted to be able to provide a video that you guys can take and maybe learn a few tips and tricks in terms of what you can do for your wedding day on your own. So hopefully this video is helpful, and we are also offering some Zoom consultations. So if you're wanting to have a little bit more of a one-on-one with our artists and dive in a little deeper into what you have specifically within your kit and what works for you, definitely let us know. We'd love to set something up for you. Again, that doesn't have to be for a special occasion. That can even just be you learning how to utilize what's in your kit and learn some additional tricks with makeup. Furthermore, please comment, like, share our video. Let us know how much you like it. Without further ado, enjoy the video. Thanks, guys. All right, so I've already prepped my skin. I have it ready to go. I'm gonna jump in with this Smashbox for, it's an under eye primer. We're just gonna take a little bit. I like to pop it on my finger here, and we're just gonna dab under the eyes. This creates a little extra moisturizer under there, creates a little more luminosity. So since we're gonna do lashes today, of course this is always optional if you're comfortable with this, but I like to get my glue ready prior. So I like to use our Duo glue here. This has been an all-time favorite of mine for many years. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just pop a little dab here on the lashes themselves. So I had a little empty space. Obviously you wouldn't put it on the lashes, but a little empty space here. So I'm gonna put some glue, and I'm gonna just let that sit. You wanna get it nice and tacky before you move on and use it. That way it really sticks when you're ready. Everything I'm using today, like I mentioned, is in my own personal kit. However, I do have some new goodies. I got some new products by Aether. Their packaging is absolutely gorgeous. And what's really great is it's all vegan, cruelty-free, and all the packaging, they don't include any sort of mirror in it or anything, so it's completely recyclable. So I'm gonna use, I have a few products here. I'm gonna start with their eye palette. This is their Rose Quartz Crystal Gemstone palette. Has some really pretty tones, really nice for a bridal look, day-to-day look, has some shimmers, has some mattes, a little bit of everything for you. So I'm gonna start with the eye primer. I have the Urban Decay here. We're gonna just pop that on the eye and spread it out with our fingers. So the brushes that I have in my personal kit are nothing special. They're just different brushes I've kind of acquired over time. I'm a little bit more specific with my professional kit, but my personal kit, I kind of just use whatever I have going on. So these are some of the eye pencils that I have that I use. Honestly, there's not even a brand on these. I just acquired them at some point throughout my life, and as long as you're treating your brush well, they'll last a lifetime. So I've had those for quite a while. So I'm gonna take our kind of medium-sized brush here, and I'm gonna go in with this nice neutral tone, and I'm gonna get this all over our lid here and kind of buff that out. So we have a nice base going on in the eye, and then we'll begin to build a little bit from there. So I'm gonna go in with my little bit more fluffy pencil brush here, and I'm gonna actually go ahead and bring in this color up here, and I'm gonna kind of just work it in this crease here. Now this general look will be natural, but a little bit more enhanced. We want to definitely make it pop for photos if this were a wedding or a night out. Awesome, that already bringing a little definition and dimension into the eye. So even that little bit makes such a big difference. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with a little bit more of this big fluffy brush, and I wanna bring a little bit of sheen to that. I'm really loving this middle golden color. That is divine, and I'm gonna take that and kind of tap it onto the eyelid a bit. And because this look is more for a wedding or a night out, I'm gonna bump it up even a little bit more. So I'm gonna take our color down here. Looks like this is, you know what, this was flipped. So this one here that I used earlier was Aphrodite, and I'm gonna go in with grounding here. And I'm gonna take that one that I was using in my crease earlier and bring that into the crease a bit. And this will be a really pretty dimension because this color here has a bit of kind of a gray-green to it. So I'm just going to tap that in. So I'm going to actually go back in with that original color that I used prior and just give that a little blend. Awesome. Now I'm not looking for any sharp lines. I'm not looking for a cut crease on this. We're just looking for a nice smooth variation of color in that. So I will go ahead and stop there for now. I do want a little bit of a drop shadow, so I'm gonna go in back in with that Scorpio color and bring it underneath a bit. Gives a little bit of dimension, a little bit of smoke to the eye without being too overbearing and heavy. All right, we're gonna move on to some eyeliner. Right now I'm using the Tartest. This was a quick buy at Sephora on my way out when I realized last minute I forgot to grab an eyeliner and decided to try something new, and I really like this. It has two sides. One is the pen and the other side is a pencil. The pencil went really quick, but I really actually like this pen. Pen is definitely a personal use sort of product. This isn't something I'd use on a client, notably because you can't sanitize it, but as far as personal use, they're perfect and they're really great because you can get some really good pigment without with having that precision to it as well. I'm going to keep this a little softer. We'll go in with that kind of more precise look, and then I'm going to soften it out a little bit just to kind of go with the theme of our look. But I go ahead and I start on the edge of the eye, and I just give it some strokes to bring it in. Now with my eye shape, I have to kind of give it a little tug to get in there. I have a little bit more of a recessed eye. If you have a nice flat eye, you have a little more flexibility with being able to get in there without having to move and adjust the eye as much. So I take my brush and I kind of give it little smudges in there. I just want to soften that a little bit. I don't want too much of a hard line. All right, let's jump into eyebrows. I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills pencil. This one I really like because there's a brush on one end. This is actually not the cap for it. I keep this cap and I keep reusing it on different pencils because it has a built-in sharpener, which I really like, and it's nice and small. So this is really great to kind of, I have no idea even where I got that, so that's no help to you guys, but it's a really fun little product. I'm using the color Taupe. I really like that on me. It's a little bit of a lighter tone, not too overbearing, but it gives a good pigment and definition into my eyebrow. I'm not super crazy with my eyebrows. I don't do big ol' Instaglam brows on me. First of all, I have bangs, so half the time my brows are covered for the most part, but I also like a little bit more of a natural brow. So I start off with my brush. I'm gonna bring my brows up, and then I'm gonna go in with my pencil, and I like to do little short strokes. So you'll want to do little strokes in the front here going up, and then bring it around, and then I always find that I need to create a little more in my arch and extend my tail a little more. So I just kind of keep doing that general motion till I get the depth that I want. From there I go back in with the brush and I go ahead and comb that through. All right, gives a little definition without being overbearing. That's exactly how I like the eyebrow to be. That's probably where I'll set. Once I get everything together, I might reconsider and do a little bit more, we'll see, but I definitely will come in at the end there. I like to wait till after I'm a little bit more complete with my makeup, but I have my Gimmie Brow here by Benefit, and I like this stuff to kind of just brush it down and keep your brows in place. All right, let's jump into some foundation. I'm gonna go in with my Giorgio Armani here. I have the Luminous Silk foundation. I really like, if you're not somebody who wears a lot of foundation, I really like BB creams, CC creams, tinted moisturizers. There's some really amazing ones out there that give you coverage without being too much and too cakey. That's usually what I do on my day-to-day. I do have this Sephora Golden Hour. This is a little bit of a highlighter, a liquid highlighter that I'll mix in with the foundation. You're gonna get your glow for the most part through your skin prep and making sure that that's on point. That might be a whole nother video. But this is a nice little kind of added product, and I like to put it in the foundation because then it looks like it's coming from within. It's not a powder product that's sitting on top. We do have some of those we'll talk about in a little bit, but this is something that I really like for that kind of natural day-to-day glow. So I'm just gonna kind of dab a little bit of this. And when I do my own foundation, I like to use my fingers. I feel like I get the best result out of that with the least amount of product. I'm not using my fingers on my clients. Honestly, probably about 99% of my clients I airbrush. But as far as, you know, personal use, I find fingers are great. Brushes and sponges are fantastic as well. This is just a preference of mine. So I'm going to mix the two together here, and I'm just going to dab it on and work it in. I feel like often with your sponges, it tends to use up a lot of product and soak it in, so I lose some, where this, I don't feel like I lose any of the product, and that's how I can get away with a lot less. When I use my hands, I like to really work it in. I want to make sure I'm getting the ears, the hairline, under the eye real good. And then notably, and something that's really easy, is all the way under. We don't want to have that line of demarcation here, right? Now, because I have a few kind of hormonal breakouts here, I'm going to go in with just a little bit more to kind of bring down to my neck and chin and décolleté. I'm gonna go ahead and move into lashes. I'm gonna go with our mascara. I use the Too Faced Better Than Sex. I move around with mascaras. This is definitely one of my favorites, but I kind of just grab different ones every time I need one. That way I can try them out. But this is definitely not only a favorite of mine, but a cult favorite. When doing mascara, this is my own personal one, remember that, because I will be double dipping, but it's mine. I personally like to just go with the top lashes, just because with my eye shape and the shape of my face, I tend to get the bottom drops a lot and I get smudges pretty quickly. So I've learned to just stick with my top lashes. All right, gave them a nice coat. Gonna give that a second to dry, and then I'm gonna go in with my lashes. So I'm gonna be using individual lashes. Those are my personal favorite. There are some really great strip out lashes out there these days, and depending on how good you are with them, that might be a preference. These just happen to be a preference for me. I can do them pretty quickly, and they are a lot more comfortable on my eye, and I find on most of our clients that they tend to really like these individuals, so I like to stick with that. So I have some different sizes here. I have a short, a medium, and a long. There are also some minis out there that are really great. I tend to stick with our shorts and mediums on me. Long tend to be a little too dramatic for me, on me I should say, but they are really great depending on what kind of look you're going for. The minis are really nice for the inside of the eye here if you want a really nice taper, or I tend to use them on older moms or grandmas, women who have shorter lashes as is, and you don't want to overwhelm the eye with too full of a lash, so those are really good for them. But as far as kind of your general look, I tend to like shorts and mediums. We're going to taper them in and give a nice natural look. So I'm going to go in and start with our mediums. We're going to start on the outside here. I usually go about halfway with my mediums, and then I bring in my shorts the rest of the way, and then I go ahead and pop a few more shorts in between the mediums there, and that kind of gives a nice feathered and natural style on the eye. Now as you can see here, my glue is starting to kind of darken around the edges, and that's a good indication to let you know that it's nice and tacky and ready to go. A good test is just try it out. If it's still just not sticking very well, hang tight for a little longer, but usually this amount of time is sufficient from the start of your makeup to the time you hit lashes. A trick with individuals, because you're taking them off by the cluster, you just want to make sure you have your angle right, and once you get your angle on there, you'll be able to pop them on really nicely. I think that's really the trick, is all about the angle, and then kind of using your finger to press them in. All right, I'm going to go in with my shorts now. I've completed the mediums. All right, so I have my lashes complete. I'm gonna let those dry a little bit and kind of see how they settle in. And from here, I'm gonna go ahead and work on my any sort of contour, highlight, and blush. We're gonna start with our contour. I have this NARS palette here. This is in Paloma. And this has a contour and a highlight here. I tend to like the contour the most. I'm not super huge on matte highlights like that. I have a nice fan brush here, and I go ahead and get some product on there, and then I just work it in. I don't tend to overthink our contour too much, but for the most part, if you completely have no idea where to start, you want to start at this kind of inner lobe here on your ear, and then work your way towards your mouth. And I tend to kind of like to sweep it up a little bit. I don't tend to do a whole lot of contouring. I like to kind of keep it subtle and you know, just a little bit of color on there. I do like to go under just a hint. I don't do too much underneath. I have a pretty strong jawbone already, but this is a good way to kind of create a little bit of extra sharpness under your jaw and warm the whole face a little bit. And again, this fan brush is really nice. It's a little extra fluffy, so it allows me to kind of just get everywhere and do a nice kind of diffused look. All right, so I have another Aether product here. This is a cheek palette. Again, gorgeous packaging, cheek palette, 3 different colors here. And I'm gonna go in with this center one, and that's called Compassion. So I have my blush brush, and we're just gonna dab that on. And we're gonna kind of work our way in from the apples out. I always kind of like to blend it up. So I'm a big fan of blush. I'm a blush girl, not sure how that will read on camera, but I'm gonna add just even a little bit more to that. I find blush usually gets hidden the most in photos. So in my opinion, it's good to have just a touch more than maybe what you're used to if you're dealing with photos. That way you have nice coloring to you. All right, I have one more face product here as far as blush and highlighter go. This is a highlighter from Aether. I've yet to use actually any of the Aether products, so we'll kind of see how this looks. But this one is Pink Diamond Dust. And it looks pretty shimmery, pretty bold, so we're gonna go really light on that. I don't typically do a lot of powder highlights on myself. I feel like it can be a little too much, but let's see how this reads. It might be nice. Oh yeah, it's not quite as shimmery as it looks in the packaging, so it's actually really nice. So I like to kind of hit under the brow bone here and then sweep it up over the top of the cheek, bring it down the nose a little bit on my chin. I'm gonna do a little bit more concealing over here, but that's a good light way of kind of adding a little highlight. So I'm gonna just go in with a little bit of my foundation for some concealer. I have a few of these hormonal breakouts here, so I wanna get those covered up. But I don't feel like I need anything heavy as far as concealer goes, just a little bit more foundation in those specific areas. So I'm gonna put a little bit of my foundation here on my hand, just literally tiny, tiny bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and dab those spots with my foundation. All right, so I'm gonna go in, like I mentioned earlier, with that Gimmie Brow. We're gonna get those brows combed up and in. Great, so now that I have my lashes, eyeliner, all of that complete, something that I like to do on myself, I don't always do this with every client, but I like to take a black pencil or a dark brown pencil. I have some really pretty dark brown ones in my kit, but I like this black one. It's Smolder by MAC, and I like to go in on my wet lid. I feel like that brings a little extra attention to the eye, a little bit more depth to the eye, and though it probably won't last the whole evening, I've yet to find one that actually lasts in the wet lid. It's just kind of a nice addition at the beginning there, especially if you're getting photos taken right away. All right, finally, let's go ahead and do some lips. So I'm gonna go in with a pencil here, this little MAC one called Whirl. Clearly it's a much loved one. And I'll go ahead and get that sharpened so that we have a nice fine tip to start with. For my lips personally, I don't have very large lips, so I tend to keep them pretty neutral. I'm not trying to bring a lot of attention to them, so less is more for me. Of course, if you have some lip, go for it. I'm all for the bolder, brighter colors. That's just not me. So I like to go in with this color Whirl and then do a little bit of some lipstick and a little bit of gloss for a little sheen. So Whirl here, I typically just go with my typical lip line. I don't usually overdraw. That's, again, just not something I'm comfortable with on me, but it looks amazing on some people. So it just kind of comes down to preference. So even though I am coming in with a lip color, I do fill the lip a little bit with this color. That way there's no hard lines or marks. As you can see, I have a little beauty mark here. I've had it forever. And again, that's something that I usually take into account when picking lip colors, because I want to make sure that it flows with it and it doesn't make it look like I had a little offshoot there instead of kept within the lines. All right, my lip color here is Too Faced. This guy is Skinny Dippin'. It's a super nude with a hint of kind of an orangey pinkness to it. So I like to just dab that on. I don't like a whole lot of this because I find it can read a little bit too orangey on me, but that little bit is usually nice. And then to top it off, I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills. I have this lip gloss in Venus. And having a lip gloss kind of helped enhance the lips a little bit, plumps them up a little bit. So I always am a big gloss fan for those who might have smaller lips. All right, guys, so here's the final look. I did take a moment and added just a hint more highlighter under the brow within the tear duct here, and a little bit more drop shadow under the eye. I felt like it needed a little extra kick there. But other than that, everything that you saw was my general step-by-step on how I would do my own makeup for an event or special occasion. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, let us know. That way we can continue to do these if we get enough feedback. All right, thanks so much, guys. Bye.